What's up, guys? John for John China Out the World. I'm back at it with another reaction video for Tom MacDonald now for his The Machine video. And I love his music because he's not willing to just stoop down when he's getting bullied and harassed by other people. He's just willing to speak his mind. And I think we can learn a lot from him, especially for those who are conservative in their values. I think that we are pushovers and we need to be able to step up, much like Tom MacDonald. I believe that we need to be able to actually take back the conversation. Let's get into the video and let me know what you think. Like, subscribe so that we can keep pushing these videos forward. Appreciate you guys.
I am not Republican, I am not a liberal. Why the hell can't I just be American without getting political? The system gon' suppress us all, they don't care about the cost. How's this a democracy when we got communists in charge? Cancel culture Nazis, all they're missing is the swastikas. Honestly, this is a psychological holocaust. Pumping propaganda through the screen and straight into your brain. You ain't on a plantation, but you definitely still a slave. Race theory is indoctrinating children. Tell blacks they're disadvantaged, tell whites they got white privilege. What a brilliant way to reinforce division. If whites believe they have it easy, they will never help you fight the system. And now they burning books in untraditional ways. They just traded newspapers for the digital age. Now the facts can be deleted with no physical flames. They just change the information and the truth gets erased. They keep screaming to wake up, but they're all woke, not awake.
So Tom MacDonald always plays off of this, the woke agenda. Obviously, I believe that there's so much messiness because of the woke narratives. Say racism is the root of America, or that slavery began in 1619, because when the first slaves came on the scene. We are seeing the world only through the lens of race, gender, sexual orientation, and these things cause us to be divided. When we're teaching kids that because you're inherently white, you're privileged. When you're inherently black, you're a victim. It causes a lot of hurt and vitriol, I feel, in when we are saying these things about one another. And ultimately, it's because of these academic voices and ideas, critical race theory, queer theory, feminist theory. Right off the bat, we're talking about the media, we're talking about the partisanship that we see. And funny how he words it as well, as you can kind of tell, the liberal versus the Republican. So that's not conservative versus liberal. And I think that actually a lot of people like myself who came from the liberal circle are now who are more conservative, don't want to use the Republican label, although we may have more conservative values. Because guess what? I feel like out of 2016, we came from more liberal spaces and we woke up to wokeism and saw how much there was indoctrination in these school spaces, in our workplaces, in big CEO, C-suite spaces, DEI stuff. And we started to realize, like, this is so toxic to our sovereignty as a nation, let alone our individual lives day to day. We started seeing race more, gender more, and ultimately, Tom MacDonald never shies away from pinpointing what the issue is. It's these ideas, whoever's perpetrating it. I think from the left or the right, the big man, whoever the system is, right? George Soros or Murdoch, right? These players in these conversations ultimately are disincentivizing true conversations. And I love the fact that Tom MacDonald is actually pushing against the grain, saying, no, these are trash ideas. We need to actually go back to our roots. And I think what he's saying is that there's some conservative values that he's proud of, although he might not actually want to be labeled as a Republican.
We know the system has failed us and all the media's fake. I swear the government hates us. Having opinions is dangerous. The system built to enslave us only works if we're afraid. I am not Republican, I am not a liberal. Progressive and traditional are hitmen hired to kill the individual. They label people red or blue, divide us, they don't ever help. They want you thinking left or right, so you ain't thinking for yourself. Go ahead and vote, cause both the parties are the same side. Two teams, one coach, controlled by the same guys, left wing.
Controlled by the same guys, right? So we're talking about people on the left side, CNN, MSNBC, and then you have the conservative folks, Fox, whatever have you. And I think that there's some nuance in all of this, but the way that he's playing off is obviously there's some big powers at hand. Pfizer, pharmaceutical companies paying off these media circles, Monsanto's, right, seed companies. And there's these big companies behind the scenes that are really lobbying, paying off people, right, to be able to brand their businesses. It's not so much that they are trying to sell or advertise, like Pfizer, advertise their products. You don't need that. Doctors and hospitals are already advertising those things, but rather they're trying to control the narrative. And when we can control the narrative, it controls how people think and view themselves in the world. And ultimately, we have less information. We only can see what the media tells us, whether it's conservative or left-wing media, we become a lot more stifled in our ability to critically think, like, how am I going to vote based off of policies rather than just personalities? Because ultimately politics is about attacking people rather than attacking ideas these days. And that's why I really like Vivek and all these other more critical people of the deep state. And I think that Tom MacDonald is one of those artists that continues to attack these ideas. These ideas are coming from spaces like academia or social media, legacy media, more importantly, that doesn't give us anything substantial or nuance anymore. Rather, it's just people talking over each other and having commentators. It's become an entertainment thing. And that gives us a lot more of a feeling based type of politics rather than an intellectual, critical thinking type of politics and social order. So mad versus great way to be able to dispel with or dispense with this idea of partisanship, because we need to be able to see each other as Americans first and foremost.
Right wing, both help the same bird fly, brainwashing everybody at the same time. The internet was once a place that we could get our facts from. Now it's been monopolized. It's Google or it's Amazon. Who fact checking the fact checkers? I can answer that one. The people who control the narratives through the platforms. Let me break this down for you, simple as I can, Kate. They use social conditioning to put you in the rat race. It doesn't matter if you're first or third or if you're last place. You're still a rat, and they're the cats who kill you so you can't escape. I am not Republican, I am not a liberal. I am just a man who knows they're scared of a nation that's thinking critical. They kill us or they lock us up for nothing like we're criminals. Divide us cause they know that unified we are invincible. Questioning the government's agenda is controversial, but promoting guns and liquor in our music is commercial. They're confusing us with pronouns they made up to make us triggered. You can call me what you want, but just don't call me late for dinner. School teaches you to learn and never teaches you to think. So you absorb misinformation, then you practice what they preach. You ain't free, can't you see that's how they want you to act? That's called conforming to the norm, you don't need freedom for that. I'm not Republican or liberal or left-wing or right-leaning. I took the red pills cause that's who's fighting for my freedoms. And you don't need to choose to be accepted. They both fake teams. Evil runs the world now like hell ain't got no vacancy.
Oh, like hell's got no vacancy. Wow. So he's calling out these dark players in our society right now, whether it's educators indoctrinating our kids at the highest level of institutions like Harvard, right? Whether it be Claudine Gay and others who are saying it's okay to be anti-Semitic under certain conditions, right? These are blatant lies or beliefs that really should not be stood up for. Like, we believe in free speech, but when we say only for certain people like liberals, for those who are pro-Palestine, that makes absolutely no sense. So there's a lot of hypocrisy that he's calling out. Say we're okay with drugs and then doing cocaine or heroin or whatever have you, and then actually being in gangs and having gun violence played out in the streets, on TV, on film, but then say, wait, we need to control guns, right? So there are certain people who are okay with gun violence in certain spaces, and then they go on to say, oh, after Sandy Hook, we need to actually control guns. We need that. So I'm not saying that they're all the same people, but because we are pitted against each other on two sides, liberals, the left, and then also the right and conservative Republicans, I think, given what Tom MacDonald is saying, he's not a Republican, he's not liberal. I think that at least gives him some indication. It's like coded in the fact that he's coming out as more conservative, libertarian, perhaps. You know, he's not saying he's Republican, but I know a lot of people who have changed from their seat in position, say they were once liberal or libertarian, and then they became more conservative because, wait, only the conservatives are actually proud of being American, proud of the free market values, proud of traditional family values, proud of actually protecting our country, right, and our sovereignty, like these basic legitimate ideas like protecting our borders. And so there is something going on, this mind virus wokeism, this globalist agenda that continues to disintegrate our social bonds as a country, that continues to actually push us aside from one another and then look at each other as these enemies. And ultimately, Tom is fed up with it. I'm fed up with it. I don't know how you feel about it. I know most people are fed up with all this.
They keep screaming to wake up, but they're all woke, not awake. We know the system has failed us and all the media's fake. I swear the government hates us. Having opinions is dangerous. The system built to enslave us only works if we're afraid.
God golly. Okay, so another great video by Tom MacDonald. I think he's always ready to spit facts about how our system has really failed us in terms of the partisanship, the hyper partisanship that we see. And really, our founding fathers never envisioned a society that was so hyper partisan. Partisanship is okay, in my opinion. Plenty of other countries deal with partisanship. And as Americans, we've dealt with it since the Whigs. And I know that plenty of people my age have thought about it. It's like, we need to get rid of the two-party system. As someone who was previously liberal, that we need to be able to actually uphold justice. That means listening to people. But since we are divided between parties, we're not doing that very well. And Tom is just like, you're being hypocrites, especially for those on the left right now, because you're really pushing toward these ideas that are supposedly progressive, like saying that everything's racist or gender is, a construct, but everything is disintegrating, right? Everything is coming apart when we're believing these ideas. They're not substantive. They don't actually add to the value of the individual and their autonomy, whereas the free market does, whereas pro-family values, I believe, does. It instills within us a safety net, right? Being able to grow up in a two-family biologically intact home does that for us off the streets. That prevents us from being involved in gangs or actually graduating from high school. So a lot of these economic issues goes back to the moral, and the fact that Tom is able to call it out, kudos to him, because we need more people who are absolutely undividedly pro-family, pro-America even, and pro-God. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys next time.